Welcome back to episode 32 in our Oxygen Not Included Redux series. I was working on building some things to do a new episode here, and I have just run into problem after problem after problem. So I thought I would show it to you. First thing was that I had gotten some supercoolant into my water filtration system, and so I had to move some pipes so that I could get it out so that our pumps would continue running, and that's going good now. We have water flowing again. What it had done is on Gorgani, it had caused our fluids to back up here, which made it so that our bathrooms didn't work. Fixed all that. That's all good now. Back on our main colony, we have a couple of major problems. I don't know why, but my food source here is toast. Just toast. I had no shovels left in here, which were providing me barbecue. I got a couple eggs from the other side, and I'm getting it back up, but we are definitely having problems with it. So why are you starving? Is there not food in this? Berry sludge there. I have barbecue, but it's not in here. That's a problem. Still sitting here. Let me do a high priority sweep. I pulled some barbecue over from the other colony in order to get us to be able to survive, but then I guess I forgot to pull it into the base. So right now Harrison is starving. I guess I have 800,000 calories of berry sludge. I could temporarily just make it so that people can eat that, but I don't want to eat up all my space food either. That'll fix my starvation problem in the short term. And then we can get our barbecue production back up. So that problem is being worked on. We'll have to repopulate our shovel farm. It's going to take some time. The next major issue that we have is all the way down in the bottom of our world. And it's a messy one. It's a big problem. What happened is, and I'm not sure how it happened, but what happened is water got into our system down here. And it heated up and it turned into steam, which is what I'm dealing with right now. But the water got into this pump. That pump is what supplies oil to our system here. And then when the oil got into here, or the water got into here, it created pressure that, or steam that built up and made pressure, and then it caused some things to melt, and that made some petroleum get out and heat up and turn into sour gas. So the first thing I'm working on is trying to get everything pumped out of here. There's a little tiny bit of steam. It's not much, but there's a little bit. So that's going to cause some problems with this pump at first. But mostly this is just sour gas. I'm hoping that the heat from the sour gas isn't going to cause any problems, but I do have storage for sour gas if I can get it up there. So I'm working on getting all of this pipe finished so that I can start pumping some gas out. Once we do that and we can get back to vacuum, this will be finished. Fortunately, we have this separated as two different sides, so this just is a little bit. This steam is all completely different. It's all a very small amount of steam. So what I need to do is prevent any heat from getting in here, taking care of the heat, cool that steam down, so that we can get it fixed before we pump any more out. We have to just make sure we have no water in here. Then I got to figure out what happened with the water lines. I think one of these water lines overheated, and that is what caused our problem. Because we were using the water here to cool down the oil as it came out. I think the water overheated and broke a pipe. So we're going to slowly work on getting this steam out of here. I think that what I need to do is just shut the whole thing down so that we are not producing anything, because I don't want to have any heat added into the situation. Then we'll start cooling it down. The thing that can really help with that, to be honest, is finishing my system where I am cooling down my water. So if I go back up to work on that, I think that'll be the best. As soon as this save is over, I'm going to cut off, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off the water lines coming in. That way it'll finish processing through the water we have here. Where's this water go? This one goes over to this system. Yeah, we'll cut that one off too for now. That way the oil wells will finish doing... Let's turn this to high priority so somebody gets in there to take care of that. The oil as well will finish using up the water they have, and then they'll stop producing oil, which is fine. And then we can just work on getting rid of the steam. So let's take a look up here at our water tanks. We still have... We're still working on building this. Problem is just like with everything, I am out of steel. So I'm going to have to look around and see if I can salvage some steel, because I'm just not producing it enough. I have gone on Gorgani to get to the point where now I have a decent amount of poke shells, which is getting me some shells to send over to make steel. See how much I have. That's under... Yeah, maybe under industrial ingredients. Yeah, poke shells. So they're all being shipped over. Let's check this here. So I have some small ones. Industrial ingredients. They're not shipped over. Poke shell melts, small poke shell melts. So now as soon as I get them, they'll get shipped over to the main colony, which means they can be used in lime production. If we look at lime, lime can be made from eggshells. 5 kilograms makes 5 kilograms. A small poke shell malt does the same thing. A large poke shell malt makes 10. And fossil is what makes the most. Well, fossil provides us with other resources. So, of the options, the poke shell malt is what gives us the most. So as long as we can keep our poke shells here happy and making more eggs and stuff, we should be able to get more lime going, more lime production going. But it's going to take us a little bit to get to that state. So I might have to just look around and see if there is anything I can salvage that I use steel where I didn't need to, or that is an old deprecated system, because I just need to get some steel to get this system running, because this will fix a lot of our problems. So I'm going to work on that, and then we'll come back and we'll do some more fixing around the base. Small update. Now that I have stopped pumping water in, we cut off that water here. We used it all up. The oil well shut down. There has been some improvement. We mopped up a bunch of water, so there's no water to heat up. This steam is slowly disappearing because it's such a small amount. It drops down, it adds to the water down here, and it is slowly working its way out, which is good. That way everything can kind of cool off in here. We'll go back to having a vacuum, which is what we want. What I think I'm going to do, because it's inevitable that we're going to have a tiny bit of water get through again. We have to bring water into this system. If that water gets too hot, it's going to cause problems. It's just, that is going to happen. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a system on this pump here that is pumping the oil in, so that if it gets any water in the line, it'll filter the water out before it sends it off. That way we're sure that nothing but oil is going through here. Actually, we're running one line, just one line of oil into that. We could actually probably do it the other way around, have it be a filter that just checks for oil, sends the oil around, and anything else gets pumped out. That's probably the easiest way to do it. So I'm probably going to build that filter right in here, and then that way, basically, the pump will pump liquid into it. It will have a filter that runs. When it has oil, it'll send it down to the pump. If it gets anything else, like when it gets water, it will take that, it'll pump it up to our system up here where it can, we'll maybe make a storage tank and have it get it sent back into the filtration system as it comes through. That way, if we have a problem like that again, we won't have any issues because it will get pumped out. Another thing I'm doing here is I noticed that we had a big pocket of oil over here that would never get into our pump. And I think my plan was originally to dig this out so it went through. But if we look at the temperatures, I have some abyssalite here that's 500 or 1300 degrees. And so if I were to dig this out and let the oil get to that, it would turn straight into sour gas, like immediately, which would be a serious problem. So we're gonna instead raise the floor up over here. That way it all flows down to the pump. Steam hasn't been too much trouble to deal with. This steam eventually piddled itself out and disappeared. I don't have any water left in here because I mopped it up. Same with here. I mopped up all the water that was in these systems. I'm sweeping it up as we go. So no water in here. Like I said, I am concerned about if the water gets too hot, if it will heat up and cause problems. So we put in this filter. Very simple filter. Seen it before, but the oil goes in a loop, or whatever liquid gets pumped up goes in a loop. This says if it's crude oil, send it out. This says, since there's a NOT gate here, if it's not crude oil, send it out this pipe. Real simple. It still is a loop, even though we're covering everything that's going through, because then if the power shuts down for some reason and these shut off, this will continue to loop. We won't pump any more liquid in and we won't cause any problems. That's why we do it that way. So this is all set up. We could turn the water back on, start making oil. In fact, we will do that. That way we can see if there's any steam issues that we might be able to solve. But for now, that means that this side can start producing oil again, and we'll see how this goes. But for now, I want to check. This water is coming in at 30 degrees. It's hitting this and heating up. It shouldn't heat up enough that it's an issue. But the idea was that we just take a little extra heat off the oil here to keep this from becoming petroleum. Because the water's going in to make oil anyway, so it doesn't matter. Should be okay. We'll let it go. I think what happened was these got backed up because our duplicates were busy, so they didn't come down to empty the gas. And when they did that, the water sat in this for too long, heated up to the point where it boiled. That's exactly what happened. So I have these set at priority 9. So when these need emptied, they come down and do it, no matter what. This will just start filling the tank up with oil for now, because this has nowhere for the oil to go, because this system is shut down for now. A couple things we need to do before we can turn it back on. One is we need to get in here and do repairs, because when you shut down the system, this pump overheats and breaks. Nothing I can do about that. I need to make some changes here. Problem is that this heat is being transferred even though the system's off because there's sour gas in there. So what I want to do, I don't know if I have enough obsidian to do this. Let's see, I might have to dig out some more obsidian. Is there obsidian I can get to easily? There's a little bit right here. I think I can get to that without it causing too many problems. We're pumping the sour gas out as we speak. All the steam has pretty much worked its way out of the system. A little bit left. It wasn't too much of a problem. I haven't checked our filters up top yet. I'm going to do that in a minute to see if the steam is causing any issues. But basically, this is just getting pumped up here. This system pumps it back up and it goes up into storage. So we'll leave this to dig. Let's go check that out. So all the way up here at the top, I have a filtration system. Oh, this is just pulling out sour gas to fill up the line. These lines are all connected just in case I have a need to pull it out. I have a way to connect to it. So it's just pumping the sour gas into here to sit. But this empty tank I had here, I turned into my storage tank for sour gas. Let's check out our gas lines. I do have steam in here. It's a very small amount, but it's probably going to end up becoming an issue. I think I'm going to let it go for now. We'll see what happens if it starts to back things up. And if it does, then we'll deal with it. But for now, we're going to let it go. Sorry, that's pretty loud with all the filters running. Let's go back down and check on things at the bottom. Okay, so let's see, what's the priority on this? Somebody coming to do it? Yeah, good, somebody is. What my goal is here is I have this airflow tile here. What it is supposed to do is it makes sure that no liquid gets into these tiles to create an insulating block, because this is supposed to be a vacuum. It's having a detrimental effect right now because this tile right here is allowing sour gas to go in here, which means heat is still being transferred up here when I don't want it to. So what I want is to get one insulated tile made out of obsidian. I have obsidian right there. Why can you not pick that up and use it? I have 500 kilograms of obsidian, but when I go to build with the obsidian... Oh, it just took it a minute. I actually just want it to be on the square here next to the door. So basically, this is going to get built, and then it'll make it so that there's no airflow between there. And when I shut off this door, or close this door, it'll delete all that gas, and when I open it, it'll be a vacuum again, which is what we want. And the goal there is that we'll be able to make it so that we can actually shut off the heat. We don't have runaway heat, which created the sour gas in the first place. And that was, like I said, was built... That happened because we had steam that built up inside the system. So now that we have it set up so there's no way water can get pumped in, once we fix this problem, it should never occur again. I've added a couple of extra gas pumps into our system here to help get the sour gas emptied out faster. We're down to micrograms, and it's slowly doing its job, but it, takes time. So I think that one thing I'm going to do real quick is going to turn this pump back on so we can start making some oil on that side as well. These two have been doing really well. I haven't had any issues with the thing heating up. Like I said, I'm very, very confident that what happened was because these were not being emptied, the water sat here and it just soaked up heat over and over and over until it burst. And that's what caused the problem. That's why it was such a small amount. Just like 1 or 2 bubbles that burst. So we're not going to have any issues over here either, because this is set to high priority as well. So basically, whenever this needs emptied, they come and do it. We're slowly getting all this gas out, and then we'll get this repairs done. This isn't a high priority project because we're not using petroleum to power the base anymore, but it's something I want to fix at some point. While we've been doing that, we have been continuing with our space exploration project. We have a couple rockets going around. We found Russell's teapot. Guess that's an artifact. But a couple different things around that we need to worry about. Next thing we're going to work on is continuing working on our rocket bay. I want to get this interior design finished. So what we currently have is we have a pump that picks up the oxygen. We're going to set this filter to oxygen. Oh, I need breathable gas. Oxygen. Now what we need to do is put a line that does... I can just use regular lines here. I don't need to use insulated lines in here. And we want this to come over here, come down to here, and then come over here and gas vent the oxygen back out. So if it picks up oxygen, first it fills up our oxygen suit, and then it puts the oxygen back out in the room if there is more. And eventually it will stop because we'll have automation that does that. But for now, that's what that does. The next part we need to do, we'll have to do after that's finished, because we need to remove this ladder so we can put another shutoff here with a filter for the non-oxygen items that it picks up in this pump. Basically carbon dioxide or polluted oxygen if something else were to get in here or whatever. And then that will get vented right out into space. Right now we are running off of... We connected power through the solar panels here. We're working on... I still need more steel, but we'll get the battery set up and a wire set up so we can run off the grid power. But since it's such a little amount of electricity, it's running just fine. Okay, so it needs to finish that. We need an automation wire that will connect this to this. And like I said, we can't put the shutoff in because the ladder's in the way, but I need the ladder in order for them to be able to finish these last couple pieces. And then that system should be finished, which means we'll be able to turn this on, which means basically the idea is when a duplicate comes in, they'll take their suit and they'll hang it up. They can do all their stuff in here, and then as they leave, they'll put the suit back on and leave, which means that we should have no more problems with them. This needs to be higher priority. That's why these haven't been filled. Which means we should have no more problems with them leaving without their suit. And also, we'll be able to use this rocket to go this rocket design to go to places like the Mumial to start doing work, because they can live in here. They will come back in and they'll breathe and they'll have their suit, but then they go out, they'll have their suit on. So I don't have to worry about building a habitat on the surface of the planetoid. Everybody is hard at work finishing up our spaceship here so that we can take it for a test ride. The ventilation, I had to make a few changes because of the fact that... Ooh, that's very loud when I do that. Because of the fact that this pump was here and we had a filter on each side, when it went in, it saw this as the closest way to go. So it was sending gas the wrong direction, so it was screwing everything up. So what I did is I added in this gas bridge. I'll turn that sound down a little bit here. Sound effects can go a little lower. Bring the whole thing down a little bit too. There we go. Now I can zoom in without blowing people's ears out. So the gas bridge here allows it to put it on before this spot so the gas flows in the correct direction. It might cause a little bit of issues in the fact that I'm dropping gas off right on top of the sensor. I haven't tested that yet. If it does, I'll just switch this to put it so that it goes on right here. But I was trying to make sure I kept this gas pump on the floor. So that's how that is. We'll see how it goes. We'll test it. We also added in our liquid pipe. And we're using an insulated liquid pipe to make sure that things stay nice and even temperature in here. We don't bring in temperature from the water. I need to remove this cot, or this comfy bed, because we need to be able to get up to this pipe, which means we need a ladder where the bed is. And that's fine. We'll just put in a plastic ladder with the plastic from the bed. and then we will get that pipe finished, and then we'll put the bed back. And then I believe, once that's all done... why do I have something here? Good. Sure. Oh, it's this piece of wire that was where the pump used to, or the gas pump used to be. So we need to get this ladder built so that we can get this pipe built. We need to get this pipe finished. And then once that's done, we'll be bringing water on board. Then we have food, we have radiation pills, we have oxygen, and we're ready for this rocket to be tested. Problem is, we haven't finished building this rocket yet. So, these are high priority, but they're all made out of steel. And so it's going to take a while to get that finished. I probably am going to take this design and copy it over to one of our other spacefarer modules. This one's made out of copper. And it's been fine. Interesting. Guess I don't need it to be steel. Might be able to save some money there. But we're slowly making the steel. We just are very, very low on lime. And I still haven't thought of a really good way to get more lime other than increasing our Poke Shell production. But since we have them going, we are slowly getting more and more in. They are producing it for us. But it is, where are they? But it is slow going. They are, however, eating up our polluted dirt. If we look here, we have 257 tons of this stuff. So we can use it up to take care of some stuff. And so that's a good thing. Let's go back to here. Last thing I want to check is how our sour gas problem is coming along. So if we look in here, this is still pumping away. This is now down to 170. Problem is we need to get all the sour gas that comes all the way up here, and even a little bit of steam that's trapped in here. We need to get it all out before we're done. And so it's going to take a while to get all that gas out of every nook and cranny. But it will get done, and then we'll be able to fix this and get this all back in production. I noticed another small issue that we ran into that I think our design from before has saved us on. The issue is our natural gas line and our mixed gas line, our sour gas line, got crossed. And so small amounts of sour gas got put into this line. Because of the way this is set up, the sour gas is coming out here, but because of all the pressures involved, it's just getting deleted by the gas liquid coming back into place because it's coming through in such tiny amounts. So if we come down all the way to where it's coming from, down here, we had a very tiny, a small section here crossed when we were trying to make this pipe go across. And so tiny bits of sour gas were getting put on this line. Now as you can see, it's all natural gas going all the way up. But we have some intermixed. So once we get through all of this that has sour gas in, we won't have any more. But the issue is we don't want to have any sour gas in this room. But, as I said, because it's coming through in such tiny amounts, the liquid comes back and deletes it before it can go anywhere. So we still only have natural gas in here. This natural gas is going to our generators. Worst case scenario, if a tiny bit got through, it would come down and our natural gas system would need to be repaired because a small amount of the wrong gas got in. So it's not the end of the world, but it's kind of neat to see that this is unintentionally fixing our problem for us. I was just checking our times, and we're pushing this video pretty long, and we still have a lot of steel we need to get done, and a lot of time before we can get that sour gas problem finished. So we're going to call it here for today. This is all ready to go as far as liquid being in, gas being in, and everything. So once we finish this rocket, we can test our new system here, and if this works the way I expect it to, we'll be copying this over and replacing all of our spacefarer launchers with it. And That means that we'll only ever have one duplicate inside here. They'll always bring a suit, take the suit off, do their things, and leave with the suit, which means we don't have to worry about them getting scalded by the vents from the rockets. We don't have to worry about them having problems when they land on a new planetoid. So a lot of good things. So hopefully this all works exactly how we expect it to, and we can get this tested in the next episode. I hope you enjoyed watching it, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.